Hello, you beauties. It is beauties. We don't use those. I meant beauties as in just like beautiful people, not in being like, you're such a beauty. Let's go play chill. Anyway, hello. It's Sunday, May 25th in the United States and Canada, and this is a show called What Chaos, presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code What Chaos. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game in Boston, Massachusetts. My name is David Bean. I sit beside Pete Blackburn. And across the room is the great Sean DePaz. Sean, how's your weekend been?
Pretty good. I went to the Sox game yesterday, the first one, the good one. Wow. Walk-off. Saw Rafi Devers walk-off. Game got delayed a little bit from the rain, but it rocked.
What's better than that?
Not very little.
Let's give it up for Sean.
Green jerseys.
Green jerseys. Got to see those too. And then Marcelo Meyer got called up during the game, so it was a good little Saturday. Haven't done much today other than watch hockey.
When are people going to get his name right? I still hear a whole lot of Marcelo Meyer. It's like Selena Meyer.
Yeah, right?
That's it.
That's
just like
thought,
as in Selena Meyer, done.
Yeah, but shout out my John Mayer heads. You see that name and you're like, that's Mayer.
That's the, like, I went back and forth on it too. And then I was like, oh, it's like the character, done.
I honestly hadn't even considered that, and I didn't think about it when I pronounced it until you said that. So I very well could have been doing it wrong. But
no, dude, you just like you didn't even think.
Roman Anthony next.
Effortless.
We acknowledge him.
That's an easy one to say. Pete,
how
was
was
your
Pete?
weekend?
My weekend's good. Very good. Long weekend. We're doing a special Sunday show today. Yeah, everything's been good. The hockey's been probably the worst part of this weekend, honestly.
For sure.
That's fair. I got a simultaneous text message and spoken word. This game kind of sucks from you and someone who is not new anymore to watching hockey during game 2.
Game 2.
In like the middle of
three.
game 2, you were like,
ass.
Like at the same time, I get a text and I hear, I don't really like this game. And then I was like, this game sucks. And then the Oilers scored. And I was like, will that make you people happy?
No,
So-
I'm looking for
You want-
good hockey.
Nah, you want high event. So, that game became high event, really. Once you said this is a kind of boring game, the game got exciting.
Yeah.
That's the trick with these teams.
It's called the reverse jinx.
Need to shout out lacrosse's John Tavares and the Buffalo Bandits winning their third straight National Lacrosse League Championship.
Tell them.
And as I like to say every time, no, I do, because as I like to say every time, the Toronto Maple Leafs John Tavares is not even the most successful pro athlete named John Tavares in his family.
It's fun to be doing a show on Sunday night. We're doing it as a Memorial Day long weekendish sort of thing.
We
So
respect the
Canadian
troops.
friends, hopefully you're just enjoying that you watch some hockey and now you're watching a Sunday night show. For Americans, enjoy the day tomorrow. What? You can enjoy Memorial Day? Is that what you were going to say?
Well, yeah, I don't know. That's not necessarily the way I would say to approach Memorial Day, I guess.
Of course. I did see, I saw someone putting up so many decorations for Memorial Day
Crazy.
that I will quite frankly say I've never seen someone put up decorations for Memorial.
We're doing capitalism for Memorial Day now.
It is a little crazy. I listen, I support the troops maybe more than the next guy, but I'm not putting up decorations for it.
It was why I said, what's going on with that house? And someone who had seen that house before was like, they go crazy on every holiday. I like that. If you're going to put up some crazy ass Halloween decorations,
if that's your thing.
you're going to go bonkers for Christmas. I love on and it was like sick. There was like a bunch of red, white, and blue stuff. And then like, thank you to our heroes. Pretty good. Pete.
All holidays matter.
Yes. It's a nicer,
Pete,
it's nicer when you say holidays.
I wasn't saying that on June 19th, but
Yes.
whatever.
Sean, hit me with what's on today's show, please. Let's move. Today on the show, we're going to talk about Starburst. Not the candy, but the stars. They're bursting at the seams.
We're going to chew on that a little bit.
Oh, nice.
We're gonna suck that down.
You should be sucking down Starburst.
Oh.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That seems like a choking
That's
hazard.
Speaking of,
I mean, that's what they're doing. They're sucking down
I die
Starburst.
tomorrow, and you guys are both like, don't even tell me. Can we guess what happened?
It was like, did he suck down? Did he
Did
choke
it
a
involve
Starburst?
candy?
he made it 36 years without learning how to eat Starburst. I'm surprised it took this long. We're also going to talk about Hurricane Oscar. I'm assuming that's like
Oh no, never mind. I thought I had it, then I lost it.
Smallest hurricane in recorded history.
okay.
Tropic storm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
John already downgraded them to a tropical storm on last week's episode. We're going to be joined by Sean Shapiro, DLLS guy, an elite prospects guy. He's a Dallas Stars, I don't know, not reporter, but analyst. He's a
He
smart
writes
guy.
for
who-
DLLS Stars.
He's a smart guy who pays attention to the Dallas Stars.
When
We
you
don't know a
host-
lot of those.
When you host a show, you get to just call everyone a beat writer. I've learned that from Mike Felger. Everyone who is talking, if you're talking to somebody about a subject, you just call them a beat writer. Okay?
Okay.
Sean is a beat writer.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
That's
We're-
Sabres beat writer.
we're
Yeah,
gonna
you're a
talk-
Sabres beat writer.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. We're going to talk to Sean about the Stars later on in the show. And Brind Au revoir. Au revoir.
Is this-
The second time that I've had a problem with doing au revoir.
And it's making me realize, second time I put au revoir on there.
Yeah.
Why? I just said that poorly. Why did we do it last time, Sean?
I
Remember?
can't remember. I don't.
Oh, like maybe like Toronto revoir or
No,
something?
I don't feel like it was as much of a pun. I'll number crunch. I'll look at some of the beginnings of other
That
shows.
would be cool.
Is that a
If-
suggestion that Rod Brindamore might get fired? Or is he just going
Like-
to be out of the playoffs?
well,
Porque no los dos.
I don't think that someone needs to suggest he's going to be out of the playoffs. I am certain Rod Brindamore is about to be out of the playoffs. And none of us think that Rod Brindamore is going to get fired. But we can discuss, would there be merit if such a thing happened? It's all very interesting. Let's begin with the Western Conference Final, because that's what we got today. It continued, and the Oilers go up 2-1, a 6-1 drubbing of the Dallas Stars. When we last spoke, I think we knew, but we couldn't say for sure. We knew that Stu Skinner was in a good space and was going to be doing great. He'd allowed, I think, 5 goals the previous game, but we've been alive long enough to know that there was probably some good performances coming from Stu Skinner. We see a shutout in game 2. We see a 1 goal against performance in game 3 that ends our favorite statistic of all time from the great NHL Sid, that in this postseason, Stuart Skinner either records a shutout or posts a save percentage under .834. That sadly is done now. He's kind of leveled off, and he just had a good game today, which sucks, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, like you kind of just want only the very, like the perfect or the horrible. And he gave us I would say that this was like probably his best game.
I think the game 2 might have been his. Game 2 was, he wasn't under siege like he was today, but game 2, I was pretty sure the whole game Dallas wasn't going to score a goal. There were long stretches in the second period of this game where I was like, score a fucking goal. We'll get to the guys for Dallas that are underperforming in a minute, but Mikko Rantanen, when you are looking Stu Skinner plain in the face and no one's within 3 feet of you, you've got space to just beat Stuart Skinner. And I'm not just saying that derogatorily towards Stuart Skinner. If you've got a good, clear shot against anybody from in close, Mikko Rantanen, you have to score there.
For sure. I like 2.09 goals saved above expected for Stu Skinner in this game. I'd be willing to bet that's probably the high watermark.
Has to, yeah. I bet that would be higher than last.
Just because he's
game.
been tested more. My big thing about Dallas is get to Stu early. Like test him earlier. They were great in the second period of this game 3, and like for a little bit in the third, but like you're not doing anything against him in the first period. You've given up the first goal in 14 of 16 playoff games so far. For a guy like Stu, who can be got, especially early on in games, to shake his confidence, they're just letting him kind of get hot.
I agree with that. He has come out of every game this series. There's only been 3, but even in game 1, like he's made huge saves that tell me he's not a puddle. And sometimes you just need to know that he's not a puddle, because when he's off, he is very off, and you could tell. But he's come up with huge saves in each game this series, and a lot of it is like by the late first period, I'm like, he's a big fat guy who is square to everything. That is hard to beat. It's when he's not square to everything, and it's when he's sliding all over the place and he's moving around too much. I think Petey said that with us. He was like, Skinner's a good goalie until you make him move a lot, and if you get him to move a lot, then you can beat him. He's in the middle of everything, and they keep trying to kind of, I think it was Vegas that would like pepper him in like the shoulder and try to get him to get uncomfortable and awkward.
Yeah, you were saying that like you thought they were intentionally shooting high to make him feel awkward and lose the puck.
Yeah, and he's a little more positionally sound, and he just kind of like readjusts. And I'm famous last words, and I was biting my tongue on a lot of stuff in game 2 where I said, I know that he's not going to allow a goal this game, but I still waited till after the game to spike the football and be like, oh, you bitches, because even with 3 minutes left, it's just hockey. You never know what's going to happen. Coward move on my part? Yes, of course. I didn't think we were going to start with goalie stuff, but once I open the door, I feel like we got to be in there. Is it happening again? The Stu and Ottinger thing?
I mean, like too soon to tell. 3 games, but like goaltending has become a story for the first time in this series, and it has been the same story that we saw last year, which is that Stu is much better than Ottinger.
I don't think that Ottinger's been that bad. I think that Ottinger is playing against a team that has 1 million players scoring right now. Yeah. And Jake Ottinger faced a 3-on-1 today. And shout out Harley was very interested in that being a 3-on-1. He's like, this could be a 3-on-2. What happens if it's a 3-on-1? We can walk through a lot of the goals that Jake Ottinger has allowed, and it's the same story we were saying after game 1, where there's a combination of could have stopped and maybe like 1 or 2 should have stopped.
I mean, the Klingberg one was horrible, but the game was already over.
At that point, it was just a bunch of people saying, fuck it, let's get out of here. I think it's happening again. And I don't think that Jake Ottinger has a Stuart Skinner thing, and I don't think Stu Skinner has a Jake Ottinger thing, but I know through 3 games, one goalie has been a lot better than the other, and one team has needed their goalie to be a lot better than he's been, and that's been the Dallas Stars. But that is in part due to the fact that Dallas doesn't have a lot of guys going right now. After the game, after this 6 goals against performance from Jake Ottinger, in which he allowed 3 the previous 2 games, so nothing terrible, but nothing amazing. Peter DeBoer was asked about Jake Ottinger.
Listen, I think, we wouldn't be sitting here in the conference finals without Jake Ottinger and how he's played. Tonight was one of those games where, they were opportunistic, and then once they got the lead, we're pushing to get back in, and there's grade A's the other way. So, one thing I know about Jake Ottinger, for me, is he's one of the best response goalies in the league, and I know he's not going to drag around tonight's game.
Okay, I know that you have to say that, but like Peter DeBoer's having a tough series at the mic, I would say. The response goalie thing, Pete and I were watching that before we went on, and like both of us kind of looked at each other, and I jumped over to Jake Ottinger's game logs, and like that's not true. I'm seeing like a lot of 4 goals against followed by 5 goals against and 5 goals against, or 5 goals against followed by 4 goals against, 4 goals against. And you can't blame everything on Cody Ceci, folks.
Maybe he's just he's putting the team in a position to bounce back. This is the first time all playoffs that the Dallas Stars have lost back-to-back playoff games.
This is the first time that they've I said this going into the series. I'm like, I don't think the Dallas Stars are playing as well as everyone thinks they are. It's very exciting that the Dallas Stars team that we had left for dead is winning games and is going back to the conference finals with an unbelievable roster. But the reason why I have my money on the Oilers, other than all this shit that you see on me, is that the Oilers were playing really well, and the Stars had 2 guys going, and if a 3rd guy was going, it was the goalie. But we've seen he can be got, just like Edmonton's goalie can be got, just like a lot of goalies can be got, which is why typically you don't want to go into the postseason with your big thing, Winnipeg, being, hey, we've got a good goalie. You need other things happening.
Yeah, the difference is when you get Stu Skinner, it's a disaster. And when you get Jake Ottinger, it doesn't look nearly as bad, which is like, that's fine, but it's just kind of the way that it is. You mentioned 2 guys heading into the series. One of them didn't play in game 3, Roope Hintz. So that puts even more pressure on a guy like Mikko Rantanen to just fucking drag this team when they're not producing with the depth that they've had. You saw like early signs in this series that like maybe the depth was going, maybe they did have some momentum. That's kind of died down.
Second and third period of game 1, the third line, which at that point I think had Steele and Sagan in Marchment.
Yeah.
And both teams have been like just fucking around with their lines all series. But that line made me think, hey, like, all right, Dallas, you got one line going. You forgot to have your top line going. That'll happen at some point, right? Maybe, hopefully for you. And then just they have not had a consistent line going since. And that line hasn't been together. But Dallas is, I definitely don't think that they are dead. And a lot of people are declaring this series over. What I will say is, for you, Pete, for you, Sean, for everyone who is a non-Edmonton Oilers fan, you should be thanking Christ or whatever God you believe in that the Edmonton Oilers chunked that third period so badly in game 1, because right now, you said off the top of the show, the hockey's been the worst part of the weekend. We could be looking at 2 3-0 series that we would all know would not have a 2024 Stanley Cup sort of story.
Yeah, I mean, 9 periods in this series in the Western Conference Final. How many have been outright, like emphatically won by the Oilers? 7?
I mean, yes.
That's kind of why I like more hockey, but at the same time, it kind of just feels like you're delaying the inevitable.
Well,
like, I'm ready for the Cup to just start.
I agree on one side. I agree. We're going to talk about the Eastern Conference Final. That shit is over. Just get it out of my face. This one, I agree with DJ that like Dallas is not dead, and Dallas is playing
part too.
Pretty bad through 3 games here. They have they can basically only go up at this point because you got forwards that aren't scoring. Your goaltender's not playing great. Just like nothing's really clicking for Dallas right now. And they've won 1 period at 5-on-5. That to me should say like maybe they are dead, but I believe in them a little bit more to say like if you come out and have a good game in game 4, you're going back to Dallas with this series tied. It's going to feel like a miracle. You're going to be at home. You're going to have a little bit more belief to you. And if you win that home game, I mean, like, I know, like, if blah, 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 like, if my aunt had a penis, she'd be my uncle, whatever.
I don't know if people, I've wondered for a while, do we still say that?
I mean, some people do.
People say.
Yeah.
People say whatever they want.
True.
But
You're like, what's your aunt's pronouns?
there is a very viable path for Dallas being very much back in this series, even, like, leading this series.
I mean, it's as simple as what if the goalie has a bad game? And that I don't say that in a Stu way, but, like, what if Edmonton's goalie, whoever that person happens to be,
Olivier Rodrigue,
has a yes, what if whoever it may be has a terrible game? Dallas, I think, should be over the moon that they are 2-1, that they are trailing 2-1 in this series. They should be so freaking happy based on how they've played, of course, but based on what's their goal differential now? -9, and they're 7 games away from winning the Stanley Cup. They have a -9 goal differential.
Yeah, I mean,
they've got a long way to, like, as Pete said, nowhere to go but up.
I get all of it. I just, like, the Stars have been not good for the, like, 98% of the series. And I don't, like, the only reason you have for, like, being like, the Stars might make this a series is, like, the Oilers could be assholes. Like all these things. But, like, if I'm basing it off the 3 games that I've watched so far, I have no reason to believe that the Stars are going to win another one.
I said something that I need to take back. Chad is so smart. They're always on everything. You see what people are hammering me with?
Mr. Game 4, Stuart Skinner.
The, like, actual statistical best player in the history of Game 4s is Edmonton Oilers goalie Stu Skinner, which a very Stu Skinner thing to do would be to fuck that up.
And how often does it look like this for the Oilers heading into the Game 4? Like, how often does Stu Skinner have this much confidence heading into a Game 4? How often are the Oilers are this emphatically in the driver's seat heading into Game 4?
Are you saying no, and that usually this is where like he's turning it for them instead? Yeah. How do you? Yeah, Stu. What are you gonna do with all that pedigree?
It's very weird because it feels like the Oilers are obviously due, or Stu is due to really fuck one up. But they just already did that.
Yeah,
exactly.
By the time we usually get to a Game 4, you're looking at Stu being like, you need to lock the fuck in.
But all of that's already done. Like, they got the asshole period out of the way.
Maybe he takes a hand off the steering wheel and sticks it out the window and is going for a joyride, and then remembers that he's Stu Skinner.
I totally get that, but at the same time, I'm just like, the Oilers are kind of just kicking ass right now. They've been kicking ass all playoffs.
So the thing today that like really, really impressed me from the Oilers was they were so good at keeping like almost, I mean, for like at least half the game, like there was nothing in the house. They were defending the house very well. I believe they also did not give up a single odd man rush in this game. So like,
they almost did on the. There's a shorthanded play where like the puck squeaked out and Stu did like a half, like I don't know if I should go get it or I should hang back, but it ended up being fine. That's the only one I can think of. They've given them up in other games. Thank you to Wyatt Johnston for not quite being that guy yet. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, I mean, I just like that. That's the one thing that makes me feel like if it is over, it's because Edmonton has locked in defensively.
They really are. And again, pretend I'm not wearing all this shit. We're all looking for the guy who did this. I could have just not worn this. But all of their defensemen at various points, I've been like, where the fuck that come from? Like, Brett Kulak has had a good year. So when he has a really good game, I'm like, that's my guy. It's hilarious. Everybody, you see him, Brett Kulak's good now. But John Klingberg, we've talked about at points, being indispensable. And like, I'll be damned if Troy Stetcher has not been a stud for this team. Like, Connor Brown left today's game, didn't come back. So maybe there's your 11-7. You can't take one of these defensemen out right now. I don't think. So I saw someone say, like, technically, and I'm sorry for doing this voice in case it's one of my friends who posts this, but somebody was like, technically, Darnell Nurse has been the Oilers' worst defenseman this series. And I'm like, cool. You're not taking out the guy who plays 25 minutes or whatever it is.
What if Connor Brown's hurt and that's just the guy who exits the series?
That's what I'm saying. So like that's your 11-7 if it's Connor Brown. I did want to bring this up, and when something happened early in this game, I thought, damn it, they beat me to this conversation. We ran through and kind of did like a blind of all the teams remaining who would be their Conn Smythe representative. And for Edmonton, we were pretty quick to say Leon Draisaitl, and I don't think any of us put up much of a fight on anything. Connor McDavid scored 2 goals today, so that helps his case a little bit. But after game 2, I was like, I think the next show we have to talk about, Edmonton's Conn Smythe guy is Evan Bouchard.
Evan Bouchard's not going to win the Conn Smythe.
No, he's not.
Like, not even because I don't think he's going to be like good enough to win the Conn Smythe. It's just they're obviously going to give it to Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, or Stuart Skinner, I think.
But that he has acted with the...
I mean, if he has 2 shutouts in the fucking series.
Oh, and then I thought about that during this game. I was like, it's not going to be... Because I was going to present the Evan Bouchard thing with, if you had said at the beginning of the postseason, somebody on the Oilers other than McDavid, Draisaitl, or Skinner would be Conn Smythe, we'd be very confused. And then maybe we'd think more about it and say, well, does Ekholm miss the whole postseason? Because if so, does like Evan Bouchard learn how to be a defenseman?
Few Bouch bombs.
Yeah.
He could win the Conn Smythe.
I mean, he's got 17 points, I believe, and starting in game 3 of the Kings series, he has actually acted and looked like a number 1 defenseman. And I don't know if you get Conn Smythe votes based on like, hey, kid, I didn't know you had that in you. But I think you do get Conn Smythe votes for being a, dare I say, shutdown defenseman while putting up Bobby Orr numbers.
And now he's got this narrative attached to him, which like it's not really a narrative. It's based in fact and statistics. So like he is just a playoff god.
Yeah.
Just a playoff.
The Oilers
beast.
are playoff gods.
Eh,
This is 2 straight
can't
years.
say
The
that
Oilers,
without a cup.
I mean, yeah. The Panthers are like the
They're
gods,
true
but
playoff
like
gods.
as far as up until the cup goes, the Oilers have been like the best team in the playoffs for 2 straight years up until the cup.
Yeah.
Other than the Panthers.
Panthers.
Like,
It's a weird thing. I'm like, I like to hear that, but I hate to, they haven't won a cup.
yeah, no, and I like if you ask me right now, I don't think they will, but doesn't change the fact that they were dominant up until that point.
I think a lot of people think that. I'm cool with everybody. I was going to say, I'm cool with you hating, but you're not hating.
I'm
You're
not
saying
hating.
the one
It's more
team's
of a
really good.
Panthers
We have to
thing.
talk about the Rope Hintz thing because he's roughhousing with Darnell Nurse in the third period of game 2. Nurse gives him a slash on the skates, and he's got to be helped off the ice, okay? He's got to be helped off the ice. And at that point in the game is lost for the Stars, so I'm keeping my fucking mouth shut, but not everybody was. A lot of people are like, I feel like a small group of people were like, what an asshole move by Nurse, which is where I fall.
Yes, objectively speaking, if you fall outside of the what an asshole move by Nurse conversation, you are wrong because you are coming off a game 1 where you gave the game back to Dallas with stupid penalties in the third period. They started that third period by Darnell Nurse having a retaliatory slash to the foot. Go on. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, no, I mean, you're more of a hockey man than me then. I was thinking of it and just like, you're an asshole, man. The guy's in a tournament and you might have broken his foot, or you could. And
Everybody's trying to hurt everybody.
everybody's
Marchand voice.
right, Brad Marchand. Okay, so softy move by me. And he comes out of the game. Like I said, he needs help coming out of the game, and I'm not disallowing the possibility of gamesmanship by the Stars. Peter DeBoer does my least favorite fucking thing in the world, and if you guys want to spend much time on it, we can. I'm cool with not doing it. He invokes Connor McDavid's name, which, how many times do we have to tell you? Never talk about Connor McDavid not drawing a lot of penalties, because then somebody, which I saw a lot of people do, Chris Knobloch did it, will show you the facts that like he doesn't draw a lot of penalties.
I mean, my only response to that, I don't think this is about him drawing penalties. It's more that he would get unfair treatment because it's Connor McDavid, which maybe, but who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's kind of.
I'm still saying, like, don't
wanna-
fucking slash somebody in the foot.
And the response that I saw some Oilers people have is like, if, like if Connor McDavid's getting carried off like that, it's because Connor McDavid's actually hurt,
Right.
and Rupe Hintz is just being a soft fin. And,
So I believe that's what Kevin Bieksa said
okay, yeah,
today when they were discussing that, and he was like, "Oh, right, like if we saw Connor McDavid being carried off, we'd be saying Connor McDavid's hurt. We're not really saying that about Rope Hintz." John Michael Lyles had a tweet that was having to be carried off the ice after a slash on the laces. What are we doing? Like, he could actually be hurt. And then today, Rope Hintz is a game time decision. He takes warm up, and when I saw he was a game time decision, like a lot of people, I was like, nice try, Stars. You tried to get a bigger penalty. You didn't get one. Now you're just kind of stringing us along, but he's fine. Good. I don't want anyone to be hurt. But even just when people say that, everyone is going at Rope Hintz saying, what a coward, like how soft that is. And it's like, okay, so either the Stars are being assholes and lying about him, and that's why he can't and that's why he can play, or he can't play because he's a big old softy. Like, isn't it just possible that he's hurt?
Yeah, I mean,
That was a big roundabout way of getting to it. But like, can we just say Rope Hintz got hurt and we know how he got hurt? Someone slashed him in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, like the talk about like him being like a faker or soft or whatever was very uncomfortable because it didn't look like an egregious slash to the laces. And when I saw like his reaction to it, I was like, oh, he might just be really, really trying to sell this. And if so, he's committing to it. But like when it continues through the rest of that game, he doesn't return, which the game was probably like already over at that point anyway. They could have just tried to really, really sell it home. But like when he takes warm-ups and is leaves warm-ups early, I feel like you just like don't put yourself in the line of fire to look like a complete asshole by accusing somebody of lying, because there's just a chance, even if it doesn't look that bad, that like it hit it in the exact way, especially for a guy. I'm pretty sure Roope Hintz had like foot and ankle injury issues in the past. Very much possible that it could have hit him in a perfect way that really, really damaged something.
Biz was getting very heated in the post game.
Biz was defending
about
Hintz.
defending Roope Hintz.
Yeah.
But like, this is a bunch of people who have never played hockey, or have definitely not played hockey with like grown ass men who have ever felt what it's like to get slashed on the top of your foot where there is no protection.
Right.
Like that could easily break the bones on the top of somebody's foot, which are famously not that strong. Like,
And this is a Darnell Nurse podcast. Can we say that if Darnell Nurse is slashing somebody on the foot, do we think that he's doing it with a hope I don't hurt his foot thing?
no, like
I
he's
love
a
Darnell
big,
Nurse.
strong guy.
He
Like,
hopes he's hurting the foot.
yeah. And like, if you want to sit here and call Roope Hintz soft, isn't it possible that he is soft and so he actually got fucking hurt? Like,
Yeah, that he got like JD Drew'd.
yeah, like what? Like I just don't.
I
Oilers
feel
fans
like
are being weird about it.
in all of those takes, one of the more plausible, I think the most plausible scenario is being left out, which is he got hurt when somebody hit him on the foot with a hockey stick.
Yeah,
And that's a strong dude who did that. He probably wants to play in these games. He wants to win the Stanley Cup. Although, if Mike Felger were here, he would argue otherwise.
and also the Dallas Stars leaving Roope Hintz out of the game to prove a point.
Yeah, just to be
Like,
like,
what is the-
we
what's-
told you so.
So that's that I did allow for.
No,
because I'm like, that
no,
game's lost.
shut
No, I'm
up.
talking about in game 2,
No.
not
Oh
game
yeah,
3.
game 2.
Oh,
that-
yeah,
that's
right.
what I
They're
said.
like,
Game
keep him
3.
out
Yeah.
so you can say suspend him, and that way he gets
Yeah,
DeBoer
right.
gets to do his horrible
That
song
I
and
would've-
dance.
yeah,
Commit to the
that-
cell.
That's a
Committing to the cell
completely
full time.
reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I don't think it's reasonable, but makes sense. But I'm talking game 3.
It would be incredible if they kept him out of game 3 and like they cut to DeBoer and he's like, so how do all you feel?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
As Evan Bouchard's scoring, it's 1-0, and he's like,
they were gonna throw game 3 by parading him out there for warmups and then taking him out of the game just to say fuck you to the NHL. Like,
Well,
come
I
on now.
mean, we heard in the first round that who missed the first game just was it
oh,
Evander Kane?
Evander Kane.
Evander Kane missed the first game just so that the Oilers could be like, no, we weren't manipulating LTIR. No way.
We would
Look,
never.
he wasn't ready for
we
game
would
1.
never.
We got Sean Shapiro in just a second, but first I got to tell you about Vivid Seats, the best place to get your tickets for any live event. They got the best selection of games and seats, and every purchase is backed by their 100% buyer guarantee. I'll tell you what, folks, I don't think this series is over, but I have started to think about what if a certain team is in a certain series.
It's a bad behavior.
No, it's not.
It's bad behavier.
No, I don't have that power.
Got to win 4 games.
I don't think it's. He's saying if.
Yeah.
Say what if there's a. I don't say 50% chance.
I mean, we were having that when the Oilers were up in the Western Conference Final last year, and you were telling me that I had to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Point conceded.
Fair.
Okay. Every purchase is backed by their 100% buyer guarantee. Anyway, I'm thinking about like, damn, like, do we bust out our Vivid Seats cards? Which we don't have. We just go to vividseats.com. We use the proper promo code. It's the only ticket marketplace that rewards you for every purchase. So download the Vivid Seats app and start earning rewards towards free tickets. New Vivid Seats users who use promo code CHAOS30 will receive $30 off their first purchase of $300 or more. Once again, click the link in the show notes, go to vividseats.com or download the Vivid Seats app and use promo code CHAOS30 for $30 off your first purchase of $300 or more. When it comes to playoff hockey, being there is all that matters, so experience it live with Vivid Seats.
The lights look a little too bright for some players in these conference finals on some teams that I won't mention, but maybe they should counteract those bright lights with a pair of Shady Rays, because they are the quality sunglasses that are built to last. We're talking premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. They're an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames, crystal clear optics, and they're the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures or indoor conference final games. We're talking hundreds of options to choose from. You're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style or your team's favorite colors. We all wear Shady Rays here. Some of us lose them, but that's okay because they have the best lost or replacement policy in all of eyewear. You can return worry-free within 30 days, so there's no risk when you shop. And if your shades take a hit and go missing or break, they will replace them as well. Personal, fast, support. You can't beat it. So exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code AC35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Okay, let's get out to, where are we going? I think, would it be Dallas? Let's talk to Sean Shapiro of DLLS and Elite Prospects. Where are you, my friend?
I am actually in Detroit. That's where I live, but I have a flight to Dallas for Game 5. So thankfully, thankfully both teams split for Game 1 and 2, so that we made sure that happened. And so I am in Detroit right now, but I am flying to Dallas Wednesday, and hopefully have better travel experiences than some others traveling around the world right now.
Amazing. Our read on this series is that the Stars aren't dead and that they should be thrilled that they're down 2-1 in this series, because it could very easily be 3-0. They've got a lot of guys who need to get going. And quite frankly, when you can only get better, 2-1 ain't a bad place to be. Do you think that they are in as big a trouble as everyone else seems to think?
I think there's trouble. I also agree with you. They should be down 3-0, right? Like that third period from Game 1, they should be. They scored 5 goals in the third period. They've been outplayed throughout this series. Even today, I know they get all the numbers and everything, and they go through and they outchance Edmonton and everything like that. But this was a game where Edmonton took advantage of the adversity, the missed penalty, and credit to Edmonton. And I actually blame Dallas for not limiting the damage there. And it's all of a sudden Edmonton is able to basically just go bunker down a little bit and then go sting them on the rush. So Stars could be down 3-0. They could be facing elimination. And I also think this Stars team is one that we have learned is such a coin flip of a team, where it's like this team lost 4-0 to Edmonton twice. There was multiple games against Colorado where you're like, this is the worst team. This is the worst playoff team in the history of hockey. This team lost 7 games to end the regular season before going into Game 1 of the playoffs. It's a team that under multiple coaches lost Game 1 of series 8 games in a row and somehow won 5 of those series. So it's basically, if the Stars want to show up, they'll show up and play the game. And then there's sometimes they don't, like tonight. And so I don't think they're out of it. It's just which side of the coin shows up for Game 4, and are they down 3-1, or is all of a sudden Game 5 a big twist game? It's Dallas Stars. They are completely random, and it's beautiful and wonderful and terrible all at the same time.
I didn't feel like they no-showed tonight. I feel like they had a really good second period that they immediately lost the game at the end of the second period when they surrendered a goal in the final minute. Like, I was like, this game is over. It just negated an unbelievable period that may have got them back in the game. But from your perspective, like, how do you power rank the list of most disappointing Dallas Stars in this series?
It's ironic that Jason Robertson scored tonight and got the goal tonight, but it's you can't be. And I know we give him a little pass, right, for kind of the start of the Winnipeg series. He's coming off the injury, misses all of the Colorado series, but you can't be getting your first goal of the playoffs 10 games into your playoff season or whatever it is for him, and it's because you happened to be there when Liam Bichel shot the puck. Like you can't be a 35 goal scorer in the regular season and not do that. So for me, it's the Jason Robertson playoff issue and I think it's not nearly as bad. Like past years, it's always been will Jason Robertson deliver in the playoffs? And I don't think he's been as bad as some people have talked about, but this year he's basically kind of given proof to the pudding that he hasn't gotten it done. So it's Robertson there. I mean, if you want to go through and you basically talk about any forward that isn't from Finland has basically struggled to do anything. I mean, Matt Duchene finally has done a little bit more, but Mason Marchment and Jamie Benn have, I know they kind of internally have moved this thought where like Jamie Benn is saying and telling Wayne Gretzky he's a checker now and everything like that. But that doesn't mean he has to stop trying offensively. And that just seems to be kind of a theme. Basically, this entire all season, we heard about the forward depth for the Stars, and it's going to be great, and they're going to keep rolling and everything. And just, no one is showing up. And it's funny because like the guy, you feel bad ripping on him because he's at -16 now, but like Wyatt Johnston is when you are potentially 1- away from setting an all-time record for the lowest plus-minus of a player in a single playoff year, there is something wrong going on there. So unless the player was born in Finland or plays defense, you have a hard time finding a lot of success individual stories on this team, other than Colin Blackwell, who was good tonight.
Colin Blackwell, Tyler Sagan. I think the
Yeah.
list ends there.
Yeah, Sagan. Yes, I'll give past to Sagan. He's been better than he doesn't get looped in as much as some of the other guys. But yeah, I'll give that to Sagan.
The Johnson thing is crazy to me because that's a guy who is profiled as big playoff performer. He's going to pop at some point. Like the Robertson, he's kind of living up to a narrative that already existed, which is kind of can disappear when games get tough. The Johnson thing is crazy to me.
He's still a child, though. That's like the one
he
thing
he was fucking popping off at 19 in the playoffs.
I know. It's weird that he has this backlog of proof that he's a great playoff player. That when he's doing nothing this postseason, I'm like, he's just a kid. I kind of let it go. Like, what is he, 21, 22?
Yeah, he's 22 now. He just turned 22 like a week and a half ago or something like that. So
okay,
yeah,
so he sucks. He should know better.
yes, he should know better. It's the you get the what is that? What's the saying, right? Like we always joke about once the playoffs, there's no rookies or whatever hockey cliche.
Yeah.
Like that's the one we want to use. But no, the Johnson.
Welcome back, Joe Pavelski.
Exactly.
Oh no. He stayed in Joe Pavelski's house a little too long.
Yes. The Johnson thing is wild because it's part where like he hasn't been nearly as bad to be minus 16, right? Like so there's been some of that that unluckiness to it too, and there's been parts of his game where you're like, he made a play against the Colorado series late that led to a goal the other way. And so there's still those moments, but then you're like, I don't understand how he can have this body of evidence from those past couple years. And when a guy does it at 21, 20 years old, you're like, oh my God, the sky's the limit. This guy's just going to keep skyrocketing. You don't expect kind of a plateau or normal or whatever we want to call this. And it doesn't make sense. And it's kind of, it's hard to figure out for me at least. So
you talked about Jamie Benn saying that he's maybe like more of a checker now, which is tough when Zach Hyman is doing what he's doing this postseason.
Yes.
Where he registers, I'm not a hits guy. I think it's an anti-possession stat, but it's not an anti-possession stat when you have 2 goals and an assist and 10 hits. You probably had a really good game. So like it's tough when somebody else is doing that and then some. I caught a little bit of your post-game show and I saw some super chats mentioning a lack of toughness on the Stars. And I was surprised that could be the topic. But then again, maybe I'm not, because a team has to win, a team has to lose. And usually when a team loses, it's because the goalie's bad and the team is a bunch of cowards. But I have not read there being a massive lack of toughness on the Stars, unless Rope Hintz is faking. And also, like, it's not like the Oilers are the toughest team on the planet.
Well, I think a lot of the toughness, the lack of quote unquote response conversation is people were hoping for the Stars to just come out and 5 guys with pitchforks and stab 5 Oilers in the foot to start the game after. Like I think that's kind of what a lot of people were kind of looking for when they were talking about response and toughness and everything like that. So the Stars are a team though where it's been to Jamie Benn's detriment through a little bit of the prime of his career when he was still the number 1 scoring threat and all of that. And it's now where he is that guy. A lot of that like team toughness, who's going to stand up for a guy, it falls on Jamie, right or wrong. And it's also a team where if you go through and as I said, hits aren't a huge stat for me because I think, as you said, anti-possession stat, but you go and you look at the Stars teams this year, like Liam Bichel led the team in hits by like 75 in the regular season. And he played like 35 games, regular season games. So it is a team, and it's a possession-based team. When they're good, they don't typically not have the puck. So they shouldn't have a lot of hits. So it's one of those kind of people looking for a solution. I think a lot of the super chat conversation becomes, well, good Lord, they've lost a game. In the last game, Rope Hintz got completely slashed. We didn't come out with our pitchforks. So it must be the fact that we're not running around hitting people because that's how this team won a Stanley Cup 27 years ago or however long 99 was. Like, so I think that's kind of where it all comes from, because for me, the bigger thing is like if you're going to respond to the Darnell Nurse slash Enrope Hansen, that like I know you didn't get the 5-minute major, boo-hoo, whatever. Score on the power play, right? Just go score on the power play, and all of a sudden it becomes a non-factor. So that's I get the people need something to be angry about, and that's something I always remind myself. Like when Owen and I are sometimes text before the show to prep, we're like, you got to remember they lost, so people are going to find something's going to become a mountain to tackle, and toughness is the mountain that they need to tackle right now.
Do you go ahead?
Oh, you're a goaltending guy. This is 2 years in a row that the biggest perceived advantage that Dallas had over Edmonton was in net. And now it's looking like 2 years in a row that maybe not. So, like, where do you stand on goaltending at this point?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's kind of it's almost sad to me that Dallas did score a goal because I loved the Skinner scoreline of it's either 100 or 830, whatever. Like I shed a tear when that happened because
Same.
I really hoped that we would get a little bit of that. That was great. I think it's kind of the interesting Jake Ottinger storyline, and it happened last year. And I don't think Ottinger has been like, there's no way anyone could watch the game tonight and think it's Jake Ottinger's fault they lost, right? There's no way anyone who thinks about it could look at it that way. But one thing the Stars have done over the past couple of years is Jake Ottinger typically has been the most worked goalie, one of the most worked goalies throughout the season. It happened 2 years ago. He ran into a wall usage-wise, and again, that Vegas series in the Western Conference Final didn't play well. Last year, he got outplayed by Stuart Skinner when he's playing a game around game 70, 71, 72, whatever it was between the regular season and the playoffs, and he's starting to get close to that number right now. And Jake Ottinger has been the Stars MVP. Between him and Mikko Rantanen getting there, it's close 1 and 2. And for Jake Ottinger, we talk about narratives that have to be gotten through and everything like that. So he wins his battle against Connor Hellebuck last round. Great. Puts him in a nice spot to talk about Olympic hockey and everything like that. But he's a guy who, when he starts getting to that 70, 73 game workload, he starts to hit that usage wall. And you can't help but wonder, can he be that guy? And that's something that I think Jake Ottinger can be that guy. Like I think I've seen it, but the past couple of years have shown me once we get to this and once we get to this point of the year and the workload has been loaded up to 73, 74 total games between the regular season and the playoffs, he starts to break down a little bit. And it's now on Jake to effectively prove me wrong on that. But the past 2 playoffs have shown that. And Stuart Skinner is a little bit fresh, lost his net to Calvin Pickard for a bit, isn't playing. And you've got teams where, like Florida wins the Cup last year. I know Bobrovsky plays the entire postseason, but Stolar's played 25, 26 games or whatever it was, right? 2 years ago, Adin Hill wins the Cup, and he comes in and he doesn't even come into the playoffs as a starter and played, I think it was something like 45 games. I think Jake Ottinger is a little bit of that proof to the pudding that maybe this 75, 76 goalie limit really isn't feasible. Like, because everyone thinks, Andrei Vasilevsky won 2 cups as a workhorse. Well, I take nothing away from them winning in the circumstance they did, but they won in a 56-game regular season, and they won in a COVID bubble where there was a long break in between. We haven't had a goalie go and win and play a workman's-like load of games. Even the year Bob took Florida to the Cup final against Vegas, Alex Lyon comes in and plays and takes the net from him for a bit. So, like, Jake Ottinger has been a bit of that proof right now is like, well, can a goalie play in today's NHL? Can he do 75, 76 games and still be that guy in round 3? And so it's not just a Jake question, it's an entire position question because teams who have won have done the opposite. Like Carolina, I know Carolina is going to be done in a game, but Carolina has been willing to switch goalies. Like it's Dallas does not. There's no way in hell Casey DeSmith is ever starting the game. So it's all upon Jake to prove this. So
watch it. But I was just Googling during that. I was like, was Casey DeSmith hurt this year? So like, why don't you just play him more in the regular season?
That's a wonderful question for Pete DeBoer that I'm sure him and Jim Nill will have I think Jim Nill had that same question about why didn't you play Scott Wedgwood more last year? And then they brought in Casey DeSmith and he didn't play more. It's a tremendous question. And it's one where I think it has to almost come from, I think it's Pete DeBoer gets a lot of autonomy from his GM and how to run things. It's one of those where I almost think from Jim Nill being such a I'm going to let people do their job type thing. It almost you need someone else to be a little bit more of the adult in the room from the Stars' perspective to say, you know what, we should probably play our other. If we are a team that should be a cup contender, we don't need to do what Utah did, where we're trying to run a guy into the ground just to make the playoffs. We should be a playoff team, whether if the backup is also playing 35 games, and that's going to be a really interesting and internal conversation for the Stars this summer, I think, between Jim Nill and Pete DeBoer as they go forward, because it's like, look, we can't have Jake play this many games. We want him to be hitting 65 games if it's game 1 of the Stanley Cup final. It can't be game 72, 73 for game 3 of the Western Conference final.
I mean, we had the discussion about like, does bad goaltending put you in a better position to win a Stanley Cup?
Oh yeah, that's the trick.
Yeah.
You got to have bad goaltending.
Yes.
But we didn't even like consider the idea that like having bad goaltending, forcing a guy out and another guy in makes that guy fresh.
Oh yeah, and when you were talking about Stu, and you were like, "Yeah, Stu's fresh now," I'm like, he does kind of always make sure that he's fresh by the time the conference finals roll around. He
takes matters into his own hands.
He's
Jake
fresh
Roger needs to consider that.
He's fresh and playing well by the time the conference finals roll around. But and I know I snapped on Casey DeSmith. I know he's not Patrick Waugh, but like Casey DeSmith is a very playable backup goaltender. So I'm confused as to why they wouldn't play him a lot more. It's not like they were at risk of falling into a wild card spot. They were going to get Colorado anyway. So last thing I want to ask is, do you think, because we all think that Dallas isn't out of this, but I'm going to play a weird version of devil's advocate where I see the Oilers and say, what does it look like, though, if the Oilers power play shows up, which hasn't happened? That's like a big what if that is still looming. And then, of course, another is Ekholm's coming back at some point. And I know they keep saying like, oh, like mid to late series. The more they win, the less they need to put him in. But after today, after that second period, if I'm the Oilers, I'm like, yo, if Ekholm's ready, get him back. Get him back. So what, like, I guess, how do you weigh the possibilities of Dallas improving and Edmonton actually still having some improvements that are tangible?
Yeah, it's tough, and I picked Edmonton to win this series, so it for me it doesn't, like, this series is kind of going a little bit how I expected. I expected to go 6 or 7 games, but it's the what if that was answered tonight was like at some point Connor McDavid's not going to have just 3 goals through 18 games, right? Like it's the whole that was one of the shoes that was going to drop at some point. So he scores twice tonight, and so he'll probably score 2 on. We can probably assume he'll score 1 or 2 in game 4. And if you're Dallas, you got to think about that as well. So there is, from an Edmonton escalator situation, there's definitely a lot of scary things for the Stars' perspective. Now, I will say, and now obviously Ekholm is not coming back from nearly as long of a return from Landeskog, but if you're Dallas, you went through this a little bit in round 1 where you were dealing with Colorado and knowing that they're going to get their captain back. They're going to get a leader back. They're going to get this emotional piece back, and you're going to have to deal with it. So Dallas is, I guess, prepped a little bit to deal with that, very little bit. But yeah, the Oilers are. I said this on the DLS postgame show. Like the Oilers are a damn good team, and so for everyone who's going through and thinking that this is from a Dallas perspective, that was thinking they were just going to walk through after they beat Winnipeg and everything like that, I think it's been a little bit more of an eye opener to the Dallas and the Stars fandom than it has been to the team itself. This is exactly, I kind of think, what the Stars expected. And it's also why I think things can kind of, I mentioned the Stars being that team that can kind of flip at times, and there's times that can change. And I think it's one of those where, from a Dallas perspective, we've seen how Jake does bounce back. And now we talked about the usage before, and so I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, but maybe this is where there's Dallas needs somebody in that group for that dig deep, follow me moment, which they haven't had, which they haven't had yet this series. The power play basically gifted them a win in this series, so they really haven't gone out and won a game themselves yet. So whether it's the Sagan line, whether it's Duchesne doing something, whether maybe it's a Miro Heiskanen signature moment, like the Stars are a team that needs something to build off of, and a lot of times that can be Jake Ottinger. There's times it'll be Mikko Rantanen. From a Stars perspective, I think there's always that potential spark there. And so that's why it makes Dallas better. But of course, the Oilers thing is way more tangible. It's why I picked Edmonton to win this series, but I'm not ruling Dallas out. I still think this series goes 6 or 7 games. I still think Edmonton wins, but I still think it's a 6 or 7 game series.
Sean Shapiro, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you, man.
Yep, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, you can find him on DLS and Elite Prospects, the great Sean Shapiro. I was wondering what kind of hat do you think he had on?
I don't know. Is there a little yellow in it?
It was a purple. It had a little bit of yellow in it. I don't know. Sean, what kind of hat do you think he had on?
Purple and
Could
yellow.
have asked him. We just had him.
I think Lakers first.
Ah.
I don't think it was a Lakers hat, but I hear purple and yellow.
Well, if it were a Lakers hat, well, I was going to say it's basketball postseason. You want to get on Prize Picks, but Lakers famously not in it.
No, they are not.
Pacers are.
Yeah, they are. Oh boy, are they?
Boy, they are deeply in it. Knicks, maybe not as in it as they'd like to be. But
would an Oklahoma City, Indiana Pacers NBA Finals be the lowest rated NBA
it would
Finals
be
of all
poorly
time?
rated, but I think I'm checking that out.
I mean, it's definitely less interesting than a Thunder Knicks final. I would say. Although I will say,
Knicks shouldn't win this year, though. Quite frankly,
I don't know. Maybe they should. I was just gonna say, like, shout out Pascal Siakam. This homeboy's going crazy for the Pacers.
Yes.
So like maybe it could be an interesting series, but I think the Thunder probably. I think the Western Conference team takes care of the finals.
Well, cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your last chance to add your favorite things on the court to your Prize Picks lineup. Sorry, my read disappeared. Don't miss your chance.
Don't miss that bucket.
Don't miss your favorite bucket. The app is really easy to use. To create a lineup, all you got to do is pick more or less on a few stats for your shot to win up to 2,000x your money. We have described Prize Picks as the glass of wine that accompanies the meal that is watching a game. A lot of times, if you're playing a fantasy sport, if you're doing this or you're doing that, sometimes it kind of takes over the game for you. I like to have something that lets me watch the game, let me keep my rooting interest, and also have a little something else to wet my whistle from time to time.
A Gumar.
That's exactly. Prize Picks is your sporting Gumar that is in the copy.
That's way better than glass of wine.
Yes. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to. I swear to God, Google Docs. Google Docs is really.
This feels good.
Google
for me.
Docs is one of the worst things ever.
This feels good for me though because I'm always the person.
I mean,
who chunks
you
the
struggled
read.
a little bit last week.
It's happened
2
before.
weeks
I
ago.
don't think that you're always.
I'm always the person that chunks the read.
I think you got to go easy on my friend Pete. I think you're picking on.
I don't think there's enough chunking of reads for there to be someone who always chunks.
I
the
agree.
reads.
I think it's happened before.
It has happened
I
before.
agree
If
that
we're
you've done
keeping
it
count,
before.
if we're keeping count, you've probably done it more than DJ.
I've had
But
the last like 16.
But sign up today. Get $50 instantly when you use code WhatChaos. You just use code WhatChaos. Play $5. Prize Picks, run your game.
And finally, a deodorant brand for men. We're talking about Mando. Mando is a men's deodorant brand that is hyper-focused on keeping every aspect of a man's body smelling fresh. And yeah, we mean every aspect of a man's body.
emphasis on the ass.
Talking about the penis, boys.
All right. I was mainly talking about pits, belly buttons, balls.
And I was talking
butt
about
cracks.
ass.
You were talking about ass. That's here. We got butt cracks and grundles here. No mention of a penis.
Can I ask, does it not say penis in the copy?
It does not say penis in the copy.
I got to say, some places will push the like, hey, don't be, this is for men, so don't be afraid to say whatever you want. And I'm usually like, I don't want to say whatever I want.
I mean, it does say an all over men's deodorant.
So
brand.
right, so if they're doing that, then and like they want you to say the word grundle, correct?
I mean, they don't.
They gave you the opportunity
I
to
give
say
you the
grundle.
option to say
Yes.
grundle.
Okay, if they're giving you the option to say grundle, no one can get mad when we say penis.
And respectfully, if you are an all over men's deodorant brand and you do not have, at least in the fine print, don't put it on your penis.
Yeah, if it's all
Right.
over except the penis. And they didn't say that.
right.
and if
I think you can put it on your penis.
anybody
Just not it.
with a penis is not like cleaning their penis and like taking, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
Also, we're very progressive. This is a men's deodorant company, but like if you like the smell of bourbon leather, Cloverwoods, Mount Fiji, Pro Sport, There's nothing saying that you can't put it all over your body too.
Yes.
It's for vaginas
Little
too.
life-
Well,
I'd
I'd be careful there.
We're not going to say vagina.
I would be careful there. They've got different biology than we do. You
Yeah,
can't just
right.
put
Fair,
anything and everything there.
Good point. All right,
Penises
so
for sure.
I know
unisex
biology.
grundles.
Definitely
Yes.
asses.
All asses can get the Mando.
Can I wait? I'm going to change the subject mercifully and say, this smells so good. Pete sprayed this and it got on my windscreen.
You have been quite obsessed with these.
And I've just
so.
been like taking little hints, like little hits of it. It smells so good. This is the bourbon leather invisible spray. It's whole body deodorant for pits, packages, and feet. And I would assume. I'm
No, it
just
says
kidding.
packages.
What's that?
It says packages.
Oh,
Yeah.
packages.
There you go.
Maybe you jump down to the mailroom. And
Yeah. You walk in. Why does my mail smell so nice?
It smell. I mean, if mail smelled like this, I would
Ooh.
check my mail.
It's a male's deodorant brand.
There
It's
we
a
go.
full circle.
There you go. It's created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO is being misdiagnosed.
Finally,
Something
something
credible.
created by a doctor.
Is misdiagnosed and mistreated BO? No more. This doctor said, Mando, put it all over your body. It blocks odor all day and controls odor for up to 72 hours. You also got many different forms. DJ was touting the spray there, but you also got the solid stick. You've got wipes. You've got, what else is in there? Whatever.
What we got?
Yeah, all
Stick,
that
sprays,
good
wipes.
We consider it the glass of wine that accompanies the body.
The Gumar.
stuff. Yes.
Tis the Gumar to the bar of soap.
We love it. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers are going to get $5 off that starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. So use code WhatChaos at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. And support the show. Tell them we sent you. Say What Chaos is unbelievable. They listen to that kind of stuff because when we were told that we were partnering with Mando, the All City folks were like, yo, they love us, and they had a really, really successful run with some of these other shows. So if you go there, if you get your starter pack, tell them we sent you and use code WhatChaos for 40% off.
This is great if you're one of the women in the chat or anybody that dates another man and your man's smelly. You could be like, it's a good excuse to be like, I didn't get this to subliminally tell you that you stink.
True.
I got it to support the What Chaos.
Oh.
voice.
Also, like,
Amazing.
I don't know how this behavior would grade, but like, if you get the spray deodorant and you got like a stinky partner,
Put it on.
just
put it in the air.
just
hit 'em.
miss.
Hit him with the drive-by
Go,
spray.
just
Put
be
it in
like,
the
just
air.
have him stand in front of him and be like, I'm spraying it on myself, and just go over the shoulder like a shot you don't want to take.
there you go.
Yes, exactly. We have some super chats from Jonas. They chatted chat from Jonas. There you go. What are y'all's thoughts on going back to 1 through 8? We'll give them to you real quick. I think we've always been pro.
Yeah.
Bro.
I am not extra pro 1 through 8 after this postseason though. That's my take on
Yeah,
it.
we had
A lot of people are extra.
We had an extended conversation about this on Friday's episode.
I'm pro 1-8.
Yes.
Not as pro as 1-6, but
Good
John says, F Jamie Ben, love from Edmonton. All right.
shout out.
Love you for that.
We haven't yet gotten our signature Jamie Ben is a fucking idiot moment in this Western Conference final. So
I am worried.
Job not done.
Natalie, the great Natalie. A lot of Natalie. Super chats, a heavy one. Thank you so much, Natalie. You're the best. Big sports day. Happy to end it with y'all. Thank you so much, Natalie.
Natalie is like queen of the fat super chats.
What a legend.
Hell yeah.
What a legend. A Zach Hyman, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins type of performance in the super chat from Natalie.
Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky, a double Wayne Gretzky.
Double Wayne Gretzky.
Twice as good as Wayne Gretzky. Connor McDavid.
Mm.
Dog-faced boy from the Disputed Lands says, I'll definitely watch this over before The Last of Us. Thanks for random episodes. Okay, I'm doing Last of Us soon. I'm getting the ball
you haven't
rolling
even
on it.
started.
Yeah, because I'm watching 2 shows right now. Studio is not a good show. I don't know why I keep watching.
Also, I gotta say it. I think Hacks is real. It has like a 84-mile-an-hour fastball. now.
Yeah, Hacks is not good right now. I'm not caught up on the most recent one. Are you?
Yeah. It's fine. Like I'm still interested. I'm still watching.
It's so predictable. It's
Nothing-
not funny anymore.
And like
Nothing-
the people aren't real anymore. That's the part that really bothers me.
It's nothing worse than a show. Like it's like a grandparent or a dog. Like watching them get old and like sad right in front of your face.
Just losing
Nothing
the
you can
life
do
out
about
of
it.
their eyes.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
tough.
bums me out.
Dude, watching The Last of Us as like a binge show is crazy behavior.
I can't do that. I couldn't even continue watching the show really because
That's what I'm saying.
I got to
Like,
be in a very specific mood to
after every episode ends, I'm like, thank God I have a week in between. Like it is
That's
the
how I
most,
was with Black Mirror too.
Yeah,
Can't do it.
How many have there been?
I believe 7 or 8.
Okay, so I'll do like once every other day for a couple of weeks,
Okay,
and then maybe
that's better
I'll
than
be-
like
Yeah,
devoting
like
an
one
entire day
Yeah.
to just watching the bleakest shit possible.
No, I don't think I'm
can't.
gonna do that.
I don't have the mental fortitude for that.
I don't think that we have any of the elements for it, but I should tell folks you should get our sweatshirts because they are restocked. And we did not have, we put these sweatshirts that we made with Justition, and by we made, I mean Dishin just designed the whole thing. Unbelievable stuff from them. And they sold out in a day. They're now restocked. You can go to Dishin's website. You can go to All City's website. We have links. If you can't find them, tweet at one of us. We will send you the link for the sweatshirt. It is the best.
In the description.
It's going to be in the description. It's got the big what mud on it, driving the Zamboni or driving the hockey truck. It's not a Zamboni, famously.
Jesus.
And that's that. The reason why we have to discuss all these TV shows is because we might not have much more Eastern Conference Final to watch. The Panthers
in either sport, by the way, live update. Pacers are blowing out the New York Knicks 55-35.
in game
3.
Game 3.
Up to nothing already. So
So we are looking at the
R.I.P. Bozos.
Eastern Conference Final. Not fun in sports.
Not really. Not a whole lot of fight being put up by anybody.
Not in the NBA, not in the NHL. Panthers up 3-0 in the series against the Hurricanes, and it's just every game is a blowout. Every game is a blowout. Bob looks good. Brad Marchand looks good. Nobody on the Panthers looks good. Or I'm sorry, the Hurricanes looks good. Although, Pete, you pointed out Logan Stankoven having a better conference final round than Mikko Rantanen.
Just saying, it's kind of facts.
There's at least that. They go to Kochekov, do the Hurricanes in game 3. Great for our purposes. Not great for Hurricanes purposes, although we had a pretty good first period.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, there's a little something there. But no, every game has been a blowout. The Hurricanes have now lost 15 straight Eastern Conference Final games. The Florida Panthers are, I won't say crip walk, I won't say moonwalk, because I don't even think they need to walk. I think they are lying down on a people mover at the airport to get to the to the Stanley Cup Final. I have not seen someone have such an easy time doing anything in any facet of life than the Florida Panthers have, getting out of the Eastern Conference Final in a sport that involves people hitting you and chasing you around with sticks.
It's bad. And like obviously Florida is just prison yarding their way to the Stanley Cup Final, and God bless them. But I thought the Panthers were going to make it through the series. I did not expect it to look this way, especially after Carolina made such easy work of the first couple of rounds. For my money, like Florida is the most impressive playoff team that we have seen in a couple of years, at least.
Like the 2024-25 Panthers are the best playoff team you've seen?
Yes.
I think it's hard to argue with it. I mean, their competition is last year's Panthers team, and I think this one's better. Their competition is last year's Oilers team. Last year's Panthers team beat them. So, yeah, they are for now. And I don't think, shocker, I don't think they walk over whoever they play in the Stanley Cup Final. I think that's a new series. I think that we'll have to readjust our expectations because I think that part of it is that they are ragdolling a team that cannot do it, cannot face this moment, lights too bright, whatever it may be. I will remind people politely that the Florida Panthers were almost not in this series. They took 7 games to get past the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like we all knew they were going to get past the Leafs, but it took them 7 games to do it.
Took them 7 games, but 2 of the last 3 games, they shit kicked the Leafs.
It is very funny how, like, everybody, I feel like, was like, they're going to win game 6.
Yes.
So they can lose game 7. It very much Ron Brindamore voice, felt like a 5-game series.
Yeah, it's just like they are so relentless and they take advantage of every opportunity that you give them. And unfortunately, like you mentioned, like Carolina has looked outmatched for the moment and obviously outmatched against the team. They've made mistakes and the Panthers have made them pay on basically every mistake that they've made. And that is so demoralizing. A stunning stat that came courtesy of Mike Kelly was that the Panthers lead these playoffs with 16 goals within 5 seconds off a turnover. 16 goals within 5 seconds of a turnover. The next closest team.
As going into today,
I don't know if it changed. Carolina and the Oilers with 6 apiece.
My reaction to that, I could not believe the LA Kings did not have 16 goals within 5 seconds of a turnover in this postseason, just based on the first 2 games. And I know they didn't score 16 goals total, but in all seriousness, I would have guessed that the Kings had like at least 6.
Here's
goals.
my theory. I gave this to you. They're too slow to score within 5 seconds of a turnover.
They did it within like 6.5 seconds. They got in the net, but it was a little while after. Evan Bouchard was saved from that stat heavily by the Kings. But man, like the Hurricanes are in such a weird spot because we've said a bunch of times this was supposed to be a retooling year, and then they traded for Taylor Hall and Mikko Rantanen, and everything started moving so fast, and they looked so good this season, and they showed that they can just lose defensemen and replace them, and Freddie Anderson was really good to begin the postseason, and you're like, fuck, maybe I think this is the year. I think they're going to beat the Capitals. They beat the Capitals easily, and you're like, shit, yeah, like maybe this could be the year. And then no, it's the Eastern Conference Final, and I don't know if it's a mental thing or what it is, or maybe it's just that the Panthers didn't really take 7 games to get through the last round, and they really were just like, we're going to be fine. We'll turn it on next round. But this is so lopsided. It's not, I texted you before the game on Saturday. I said, I will give anything for this to be an interesting game. And it was kind of interesting for a little bit, but no, it's always a blowout.
Yeah, and like I definitely give more credit to Florida than I say Carolina sucks. They're not meant for this, blah, 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 blah. Like they're running into an absolute juggernaut that is perfect to just take advantage of the style that they play and what they lack maybe in terms of upper echelon talent, in terms of toughness, and, you know, exposing the goaltending that maybe wasn't amazing. What I will say is that I think based off of assuming that the series closes out looking like it does right now, I think Carolina does have to take a note from what Florida did, which is a few years ago, Florida realized that they had a great season, won the President's Trophy, played with a lot of flash, played with a lot of skill, and then got to the playoffs and figured out it just wasn't going to work for them. And then they took very, very bold moves to reshape the identity of their team and to put themselves in a position to win playoff games. And when I say that Florida is the most impressive playoff team that I've seen in the last like handful of years or whatever it is, that means that they are simply built for this. They have high-end talent. They're so tough. They're so relentless. They can roll 4 lines. They can kick the shit out of you. They can wear you down over the course of a series. They can defend well. They can get the goaltending. Their special teams good. They can do it all, and they can win games in so many different fashions. They can win games that look differently from night to night. And I just don't think that Carolina has that ability because they're kind of a one-trick-ish pony. Like their one trick is really good, especially during the regular season. But when you get to the playoffs and the games change and they look different from night to night, I don't think that whether it's their roster, whether it's Rod Brindamore's style, I don't think that they have enough of malleability. I don't think they can adjust on the fly to win these series when things change. And I think they need to look at what Florida did and they need to make those changes and not in a blow it up sense. Like they don't have to trade their best player like Florida did with a Jonathan Huberdeau. Like I don't think that there's going to be a Matthew Tkachuk for Carolina to go out and get, but you need to go out and get players that allow you to play with different identities.
So like that's what I was going to say. Like obviously they can't do what the Panthers did, but are they the team that offer Sheets, Matthew Nyes? You know, like because
Also-
like, is there like are you trading Svechnikov? Like what's I don't look at their roster and I say, here's the big move they can make, because the big crazy move they can make was already made. They traded Martin Necas and Jack Drury for Mikko Rantanen, and I would do that trade every day of the week. Good trade.
That's why we loved it at the time.
Yeah, it was a risk, but they got burned.
What I know, Canes fans probably don't want to hear it, but like what you brought up, I think earlier is interesting. That like, if you were to say that the Canes from last year, like all they really did was they got rid of Necas and they added Stankoven, and like obviously they had they got a goalie, all that stuff, but like the team's not like remarkably better. Like the moves that they made ultimately weren't moves for like this year. Like they have they replaced Necas with a rookie and Taylor Hall. That's not necessarily like what you would think would be the things that would get you over the hump in 1 year. Like obviously have other changes to make, because I made a comparison where they remind me of like Syracuse basketball with the zone, where they kind of just fuck people up for a while because they don't know how to play the zone, and they get to a team that does, and then they don't look like they belong there at all. And everyone else is like, well, damn, maybe someone else should have been there. But that's just kind of how it goes.
So a question off it that is going to happen if they get swept, and Rod Brindamore says that they are not swept. And I swear to God, if I were in the press conference, I'd be like, yo, like, can you confirm that was a sweep?
If he does say that, he should get fired.
100%. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, if he even comes close to that sort of neighborhood after this year, you got to go.
Do you think that his seat should be warm?
I don't think so.
Probably not. But like the statement, like if he were to say something along the lines of it wasn't that bad or whatever, like that shows me not necessarily, I mean, partially a lack of accountability, but like also a lack of like understanding what the fuck is going on. And that's way more concerning to me. I obviously don't think he's a bad coach, though.
I get the frustration with Brindamore, and I think that there is like now more attention paid to his inability to adjust, whereas like in years past, people were just like, he's the darling of the NHL, he's the coach that everybody would want, and like, maybe that's true still.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I still don't know if it's true,
but like I don't think there's any reason to consider firing him. I don't think there's any reason why his seat should be hot. I think he's had too much success there. It's just he's running into like this year. I don't necessarily put it on Brendan. Like they ran into the Panthers, and the Panthers are dogs. I wish that it looked better for Carolina at this point. I wish they were putting up any sort of fight. But again, like I think that you gotta give it a little bit of time. They have a little bit more time, and they have more assets that they can use to improve. Like this could be a big summer for them.
A lot of cap space.
They've got $28 million in cap space. They've got 4 first-round picks over the next 3 years. If they want to improve and they really want to change and reinforce what they have there, they can absolutely do it.
Had you brought up Marner to Carolina before?
Oh yeah, that was that like once he didn't do it at the deadline, I think people thought that
I
they'd
just
go
feel like
after
that
him.
makes so much sense. Because
no, but I think it makes too much sense. I think he fits too much into
like what they
their
already
profile right
fair
now.
enough,
and
yeah.
what I'm saying is they don't need more of those guys.
If Sam
Chad
Bennett was
saying
good,
Sam Bennett.
No, like if Sam Bennett was good, like Sam Bennett.
I
know he's good, but like if
good.
Sam Bennett was like worth what he's going to get,
but if there's any team that's going to pay Sam Bennett $10 million, why? I agree. No team should want to pay Sam Bennett $10 million. But if there's a team where it makes sense to pay him $10 million, it might as well be the Hurricanes, because he's bringing an element and an edge that they don't have. He fills a position which they absolutely need. Whether you want to argue that he would be their 1C or not, like I think there are valid questions. I think there are valid questions right now as to whether Sebastian Aho is like a true number 1 center, especially in the playoffs. So if you have a 1A, 1B kind of situation with 2 extremely different players, they're closer.
Yeah, they lost a lot of center depth when they made that trade for Rantanen, because they lost Jack Drury as well. If the contract's not crazy, yes. But do you think that Sam Bennett is going to get whatever offer he gets from Carolina, and he's going to go back to Florida and be like, you can't come within $2 million a year of this?
Yeah.
Come on.
I know you said this the other day, but it's just been I think he'd be making such a mistake. Like not a mistake because we'll get paid, but from like a hockey perspective, he's making such a mistake to leave Florida. Like he just seems like it's not going to get any better for him, and it's not going to get any better for the team that employs him than it is for him and the Florida Panthers currently.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, though. Like, Sam Bennett would be great for that roster, but I don't know if overpaying a guy who's fresh off of maybe 2 straight cups is.
I mean,
and we're also talking about Eric Tulsky here. I think that Eric Tulsky is going to evaluate Sam Bennett for what he is.
Yeah.
And he's probably not going to be the guy who emotionally overpays Sam Bennett, especially after like one playoff run.
How much value would you place on getting him the fuck out of the way? Like taking him on so he can't be a problem for you. Even like overpaying slightly for that on top of
Yankees
like,
and Red Sox used to sign guys out of fear that the Yankees or Red Sox were going to sign them.
Yeah. And like I get that you
That's
could
without
just
a
like
cap though.
What's that?
That's without a cap.
Yeah,
true.
true.
But like Sam Bennett obviously would be a valuable player, maybe not $10 million valuable, but like, and you could always have someone else. But like, if you're the Hurricanes, for example, do you want to risk him going to the Maple Leafs and him being the solution there, or staying with Florida and him continuing to be what they are? Like,
yeah,
if you can't swing it, why not?
We agreed last week. Sam Bennett's probably like an $8 million player on the market.
Yeah.
But if you're paying a couple $1 million for him to change the identity and kind of the culture of your team, especially in the playoffs. Number 2, take him away from what is potentially your biggest threat in that Eastern Conference final again next year or years down the road. Like, I think there's reason to consider it being worth it.
Yeah.
For that extra $2 million.
Now that we're back on the Sam Bennett thing, I'm like, you know who I wouldn't hate for Sam Bennett? It's going to sound crazy because you're going to be like, they have centers. And I'll say, for how long? LA Kings. Kings should go after Sam Bennett. But again, at what price?
What is Carolina's cap situation look like?
$28 million.
$28 million coming up.
Because they're losing Nelson, right? Presumably.
Colorado?
Colorado. What did I say?
Oh, you
Carolina.
said
Carolina. What is Colorado's cap space?
I think they're like kind of
They traded
tight.
Rantanen because they were like, we have to sign.
They have to pay McCarr.
Yeah. But they also, Nelson's going to come off the books. I guess I could just look it up. But like, that's a team where I feel like it would make sense. Obviously, I don't know if they're going to be able to pay.
I would
overpay
agree.
him.
I feel like you go to Colorado because you're like, they're close and I can maybe get a cup there, so you don't take the biggest contract there. If you're going to do that, you stay in Florida where you don't take the biggest contract and you still make more money because you don't have to worry about those taxes. Shall we get to the biggest thing that happened in hockey over the weekend? Yes, let's do it. On Friday during the game, Troy Stetcher did a radio hit with Bob and Jack Michaels. Jack is on the radio call now on 880 Ched. And I think it was after the first period. And a lot of people, thank you everybody on Twitter for pointing this for getting this on our radar, that Troy Stetcher did this horrifying, not safe for work intermission hit.
From Dallas's American Airlines Center, and Troy, much like the other night, I would think the team leaves the ice feeling pretty good about the way the opening 20 minutes developed.
You're absolutely right. That was a good first 20. Like you said, though, last game we had a great first 20, a great first 40. And we shit the bed in the third, so the focus is having a good, strong second here.
All right, well, one of the things that you need to get going, and look, you're not on the power play. You have played at the power play at different levels. It tends to be a little bit cyclical, but you guys are now 2 for 4, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has those 2 goals, and part of it happens just because pucks get directed to the net, and you create some chaos. Your thoughts on the PP goal?
You're a smart man there, Bob. Pucks and bodies and net, good things are going to happen, so we obviously got the 2 best players in the world on our team, and they have a lot of creativity to make plays, but sometimes less is more, and when things aren't going right, you just get pucks and bodies in net, and you get rewarded. So that's a big goal at a crucial part of the game, and we've got to carry it forward.
Troy, that's a great interview, but please don't indulge my partner by saying how smart he is.
I fucking love Bob. Oh my God, I love Bob so much. Sorry, boys.
Hey, the Daily Double. Troy started it with some colorful analysis and finished it. That's why you tune in to 880 Ched. Hey, it's got to be after midnight somewhere, right? Look at Bob. He's giggling like a schoolboy. 1-0 Edmonton.
I think he said flip.
Yeah, something like that. Nugent-Hopkins for Bouchard and Draisaitl. 5:51. Time of the power play goal. We'll see whether they allow us back for the second period. But
I fucking love Bob.
Same.
That's
we all
the
fucking
best.
love Bob.
I fucking
And then Bob just giggling maniacally afterwards.
don't bump his tires too much. Oh no, I fucking love that.
That
guy.
was not giggling.
Yeah.
That was belly laughing.
I don't think Bob is capable of giggling.
Bob is not a giggler.
No.
Yeah, he's not on the giggly squad.
That is the giggly squad. That
Shout out
is
Paige and Hannah.
What's that?
Shout out Paige and Hannah. That's the giggly squad.
Who?
Paige and Hannah. Paige DeSorbo and Hannah Berner.
I don't know.
This guy's not a Summer House guy.
Oh, whenever people say names that I don't know, I assume it's a video game thing, or I assume it's like porn stars. I don't know any of those people's names.
Mentioned
Are they going to be like,
porn
oh, like
star?
the who's the person that everyone? There's someone that everyone tweets about,
Bonnie
and I'm
Blue?
always what's that?
Bonnie Blue.
Bonnie Blue.
I tweeted about her today.
What do you say?
She got kicked out of the Chelsea game. Shout out my Chelsea Blues
Hey,
back to Champions League
yes.
football where we fucking belong.
Yep.
But she got kicked out of the game. And then that was the first time I had ever considered the fact that she may be named after the Chelsea Blues, which kind of rocked my world. Don't necessarily know if I mean,
But they still kicked her out?
Yeah, they kicked her out. She was twerking on a cop on the way out. Bonnie Blue does her thing. Bonnie Blue is very much Bonnie Blue.
Did they?
She definitely does her thing.
Did they
And she
kick
might
her
be
out?
the only person doing her thing.
I agree. I'm not saying it.
Did they kick her out for being a porn actor?
I don't know. She probably was doing something. She's probably collecting some kind of content that she wasn't supposed to be collecting. I don't think they kicked her out simply because she was a porn star.
Oh,
I don't know though. I just saw the video of her getting taken out.
okay. Very, very good. Do we? By the way, anyone who hasn't subscribed, please make sure you press that button. We would love it. It would. I saw someone just asked, "Is this live?" I guess this could. I mean, we're usually talking about current games. This is live, but
Mhm.
I guess that some
Depends
of our
when you're watching
conversations-
True.
Yeah.
It's not. It's. I can guarantee you're not listening to it in real time because there's a delay in the internet. And everything.
There you go. Sean, could you hit me with the slate, please? Tonight's games already happened. There was only one. The Oilers hosted the Dallas Stars in Game 3 of the Western Conference Final. That game was on ESPN. Sean McDonough on the call. Ray Ferraro alongside. Yes.
Emily across the room.
Yes, right. Yes. Ray Ferraro famously is across the room. He does the Louis DeBrusque, where he's like,
Get me the fuck
"Get me away from the
me.
play guy."
Why
Emily-
does Ray Ferraro hate Sean McDonough?
I think
People asking the question.
how has Ray Ferraro not been on this show? I think it's probably because he's never done a podcast before. But I think that he probably hates everybody.
He
That's
has
why-
a podcast.
Does he?
Yes.
What's it called?
Ray and Dregs.
Darren Drager and Ray Ferraro?
Yeah.
Does he? Were you saying, Sean?
Emily had like a behind the bench interview with DeBoer.
Oh,
And I
interesting.
thought it was it was a pretty big because she asked about the missed call. And
Yes.
she was like, "Did you like the explanation?" He was like, "No," and then she was like, "Why?"
Why? Yes, good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, good follow-up question.
And then he kind of like debated how much he wanted to say, and he was not happy.
He was not anticipating the follow-up.
No, but I loved it. I was like, we've talked plenty about the value of those interviews and how they oftentimes don't give you anything, but that's why I think you do them, is because every once in a while you get something, and it makes it all worth it.
So somebody said no worlds chat. What gives? We have been on record as saying we do not care about worlds,
But
and that
also
it's
USA.
could not imagine caring about worlds. I revised that statement because USA won.
And
I
didn't
revised
someone-
that statement because Tage Thompson scored the game-winning goal, and
Dog, it was
because
sick.
apparently Jeremy Swayman was awesome, and because apparently Zach Werenski is there, and because apparently I looked at the roster for USA. It's fucking
crazy.
hilarious.
It's
Oh, that's the
crazy.
coolest shit ever.
It's a World Championship tournament thing, and Andrew Peak is in it. Like, I love it.
It was a first line. I don't know if it was for the entire tournament, but at least for a majority of it, of 2 Utah hockey clubbers and Tage Thompson. Absolutely my shit.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure like every American player in the NHL who's not currently playing hockey is playing at Worlds.
Josh Doan's there.
It's just a crazy collection of people.
It's the sickest shit ever. First time since before World War II that we won the gold in that tournament.
Can I, by the way, speaking of clubbers, do you know about this barbecue they had? So I asked our friend Captain Cook because I was seeing some posts about a clubbers barbecue, and I said, "What's up with this clubbers barbecue?" A fan. Oh, I think it actually. Yeah, Gangrene Utes fan, our guy,
Hell yeah.
organized an off-season barbecue.
I can't imagine that guy organizing.
I was gonna
anything.
say he does not seem like
Does not seem like a big
community,
organizer.
community like guy that gets the people going. Well,
Oh, no,
he does, but
he
I
is
mean more
that,
of like
yeah.
of like a Yeah,
like
get the people together.
has the document going.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
He doesn't have like
can't
the
imagine him being
who's
like the
bringing
logistics
yeah,
guy.
who's bringing the potato salad. type
Okay,
of-
so apparently, like with the Utes, they do barbecues. That's like a
Yeah,
thing
makes
there.
sense.
And this guy who sends us videos organized a barbecue for clubbers, and word got out, and I guess word got around, says our friend Captain Cook, because Ryan Smith sent someone over with a bunch of merch, and it made the local news.
Sickest owner in hockey. I don't give a shit.
He's
He's
an
sick.
awesome
The
owner.
reason, yeah. So the reason I DM'd Captain Cook and was like, "Tell me about this thing," was I saw a picture that was like, Ryan Smith came through for the Clubbers barbecue, and there was just like a table full, like a big ass table, just stacked up with merch. I was like, "What's the story here?" He
So
saw
sick.
that fans were getting together and was like, "Yo, let me kit you up."
He seems exactly like what every fan base wants their owner to be, which is somebody
much.
who is not a businessman who owns an asset, but a fan who's willing to spend money on their team to be better.
Not a question how much he cares about his teams,
Yeah.
which rocks.
And
And
yeah.
like he's got some tech bro to him. He's got a little like how do you do fellow
a little
kids to
corny at
him.
times, for sure.
He's got maybe some questionable taste in his uniforms for the teams that he
Yeah.
owns, but seems like a pretty good guy. Seems like a guy who cares about his team and his community. and I like
Especially
that.
for those players, it's got to feel very good.
Yeah.
The Arizona, it's always going to be sad to me, but from like an owner to owner, they had maybe the worst owner in pro
Ooh.
sports to one of the best.
Kelly says, "What kind of merch we talking? What if he was just liquidating?" The,
Yeah, it was all
expired
Utah Hockey Club
Oh.
stuff.
It was all Utah Hockey Club stuff.
No, you know
I would
what?
only be so mad at that.
I was peeking around because there were some Memorial Day sales, and there were some jerseys were on sale. I'm big on the fucking Reddit hockey jerseys page now. That's basically my homepage. I'm always looking at what's on there. It's people talking about jerseys, posting stuff they got, and I saw that there were a lot of sales going on. So I went to Fanatics and I was like, there are all these sales going on. We got Mammoth gear on sale. Basically everything except for Mammoth stuff was on sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Can't
there
say
was
that.
like, if I could have grabbed a few like Mammoth sweatshirts, I'd be all over that. We did clean up though on jersey sale recently, so this place is going to look a lot better soon.
Bad news for the Carolina Hurricanes. Your team stinks and their season's about to end. Good news for Carolina Hurricanes fans. I'm about to have your shirt.
Finally,
I bought a jersey.
awesome show today, guys. Says Cam.
What up,
with a
Cam? I know
super
Cam.
chat. Love what you fellas do. Another thing I saw in the chat, multiple people said they want this jacket, what chaos themed. Can't do it right now,
I know a man who can do that.
but like we can do, like that could be done.
Yeah.
That could be got.
yes.
It'd be very expensive.
There were also several people
In the meantime, get a sweatshirt.
yes, there were also several people in the chat, not to go too far back, that were pushing back on your Panthers statement and raising you the 2022 Colorado Avalanche.
Totally different. People push back with the Tampa Bay Lightning too. I'm not saying that like they're the best team that has won a Stanley Cup or been in the playoffs. I would say they're the team that is most specifically built for the playoffs and enduring the playoffs.
I mean,
Like the Colorado Avalanche were unbelievable.
Yeah, it's almost to their detriment in this sense because they just walked through everybody. They didn't need to be like built for the moment. They obviously were, but like it wasn't like there wasn't like
They were like 85% skill. And there was
Yeah,
like
exactly, yeah.
unbelievable levels of skill.
yes.
I mean, we don't know what Reinhardt's situation is, correct?
Don't
Right.
think so, not yet.
But they've got an elite first line center. They've got, I would say, very good second line center. They've got a third line center who's going off right now. You want to be built down the middle. Offensively, you've also got Matthew Tkachuk and, if he's healthy, Sam Reinhart and Brad Marchand. Jesper Boquist, by the way, coming out of nowhere.
Dog, you want to know what that made me think of? I wish Jeff Skinner was on the fucking Panthers.
Oh,
If
they
you could
have a
stick
role
him
for him.
into a top six role like that. Oh my God, he'd
Yeah.
be fucking shit up.
They'd be playing him. So playoffs, you want to be strong down the middle. You want to have some guys who can score. You want to have good defensemen. You want to have a good goalie. They've got like several workhorses on defense, several, at least 2 or 3, and you've got a Vezina and Stanley Cup winning goalie.
Yeah, that's the one
Yes,
thing.
who's a little long in the tooth, but like a goalie who can do it, has done it. has also just
when
been
he
like,
does it, you're like, holy.
yeah,
this guy's
has also
unbeatable.
like just been the best goalie in the league at points in his career.
Meanwhile, nobody ever brings up the 2022 Colorado Avalanche Stanley Cup without also mentioning they did it with fucking Darcy Kemper.
Right.
I bring that up a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
He had
like
a 902
you want
save
so specifically
percentage
your
ever.
conversation about like being built for it. Like
yeah.
they didn't have the goaltending that they're not built head to toe.
Kemper was like, I think he got hurt. Like he took a stick to the eye, so he had an eye issue. But like, yeah, it was speed and skill that got the Avs to a Stanley Cup win, and it was unbelievably impressive. But it's just like kind of a different identity that we're talking about with Florida.
I will say 2022 Nazem Kadri is an all-time, like, had to be there because that shit rocked. But if you weren't there, you're never gonna know.
Yeah.
And if you were there after when you signed him to a contract, you're like,
You're never gonna know.
You're never going to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. We've had a lovely show. Make sure you are subscribed everywhere you can be. Pete, tell the folks to press a button.
Amplify.
Push
I
it.
was not one button. Any button that can amplify, we'll take it.
Yes.
That's a subscribe button. That's a like button. That is the buttons that take you to leave a comment. We're getting a lot of comments on the YouTube.
Maybe we should start telling them not to press the button because I feel like the most guaranteed way to get a button press is by telling someone not to press a button.
That's true.
You got like do not
any
circumstances press the like button.
Don't you dare push that button.
If
Or
you
the
have a
subscribe
Mac,
button.
if you have an Apple product, that button might not be the wisest thing to push. If you have like the newest OS, if you haven't upgraded, or if you haven't upgraded to the newest OS, I'd be worried about pressing that button. People being like, Mac's usually bulletproof.
Yeah.
What's going to happen if I press the button?
Don't you dare press that button. Don't even think about it.
You don't want to know what's going to happen if you
That's
press
right.
that button.
Yeah. Stuff gets everywhere.
You better not find out.
You say stuff gets everywhere?
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Yeah. It's really gross. Somebody, by the way, in the chat said saw friendship. What was the thing that what Chaos
That's
said?
not a ball knower.
That's not a
That's
what?
not a ball knower. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have been paying enough attention to
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I know. But if you've been paying enough attention to what Chaos over the last month, 2 months, it was pretty obvious once it happened what the bit was.
Yeah. Pete, you got to see it soon.
Yeah.
I'll do my best.
Tomorrow.
Playing golf tomorrow.
How long does golf take?
All day. When you suck.
I would say that the idea of sitting in a cold theater after playing golf sounds pretty nice.
It's true.
Oh, speaking of, we're going long.
Oh God, that's like the eighth. Speaking of,
I won't do. This will be the only time I talk about it because when you do this, you're supposed to talk about it non-fucking stop for the rest of your life.
You doing CrossFit?
Not CrossFit. So CrossFit, running are the two things that people do and don't shut the fuck up about. What's the third one? It is a exercise related
Pickleball
thing. Nope.
Pickleball is a good one.
If you play pickleball, you got to keep that shit to yourself because people
spin.
No.
Pilates.
People don't talk all about that.
Yoga.
What's a thing like for your health that people do?
Oh, like going keto or something like that?
Nope. Once I say it, you're gonna be like, oh,
Ozempic.
No.
I feel like people don't really talk about taking Ozempic.
I took Ozempic. No.
Well, people are forced to talk about Ozempic because they take Ozempic, and people are like, "Damn, you taking
Take
Ozempic?"
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know.
Cialis.
No, it's not a medicine. It's a thing that I'll just say it. Chaboy did his first cold plunge.
Ah, okay.
That is
People are doing
that's
that.
an annoying conversation sometimes.
That
you ever
is
done a
true.
cold plunge?
I have not.
I like 5 minutes after I was like, God fucking damn it. I get it. Like
Did you go to like a sweat house or did you do like a in-home cold plunge?
No. I did it at the spa. My gym has a spa that there's like a whirlpool. There's
You had a
cold
communal
plunge.
cold
and,
plunge?
I don't know. They got shit in there to.
they got things to do in the gym.
They flush it out. No, but like 5 minutes later, I was sitting in the steam room and I was like, I feel God in this Chili's.
Cam nailed it.
Cold
I do.
plunge.
Intermittent fasting is another good one. Is another good one of the things that people can't shut up about.
I do intermittent fasting by accident,
Same.
and I never talk
Yes.
about
Yeah,
it.
I think that's the only reason I'm not severely overweight because it's not like I eat good food. I just don't eat enough to get fat.
That's the classic trick. Just don't
Yes.
eat as much. Okay.
We are not doctors, unlike the people who invented
We should get a
Mando.
cold plunge for the studio.
Oh, I mean, honestly, Honestly,
On the
a 3
stream?
a.m. cold plunge for the 24-hour stream would probably do
Oh my god.
so. It would probably be like very welcomed, or
Yeah.
like more like a 6 a.m. cold plunge. Like wake me up. I would.
They do have like those like portable,
like the inflatable,
ones,
yeah.
the inflatable ones. I
I'm
bet
down to do that.
I bet we could get like
I
a
would
sponsor.
totally do it. I
we
would.
would do a we could do like a cold plunge race. See who can stay,
stay
in
in
the
the
longest,
longest.
and then just one of us dies. One of us just gets very
24-hour cold.
We get a free cold plunge tub for this 24-hour stream to promote this company's product, and one of us
One of us
dies in it.
dies
It'd be
on
awesome,
camera.
especially if it's me, because like, do you know how to run this shit?
That would be tough. Yeah.
So you just gotta live stream. You gotta live.
You
stream
got to die in hour 23.
I mean, it's not like the stream ends automatically at 24. You'd still have to figure out how to turn it off and shit.
VR cold plunge live stream. We could do a lot more. We could do many more minutes on VR that we are not going to do. But we've got some thoughts.
Put me
there.
down by the net.
Everybody enjoy Monday. We'll talk to you Tuesday. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.